Hello everybody, Chef Archie Pie here. Welcome to my latest video. We're making gravy, or jus, depends where you come from. We're making sage apple, butter and white wine gravy. There it is, in all its glory. This gravy is perfect for roast pork, pork chops, roast turkey, even chicken. It's even great for game. It's one of those gravies that doesn't involve a thickening agent. We're going to blend it with a stick blender, and that should give us ample thickness. So let's start with what we're going to need. I'm currently chopping some fresh herbs from the garden, which I'm very proud to say. I'm chopping some thyme, some rosemary and some sage. All those quantities will be in the description below. So lovely rosemary there. And obviously I'm so lucky to have all this in my garden. I'm just splitting one bay leaf open as well, and I absolutely agree with anybody that says the dry bay leaves are better than fresh bay leaves. I don't have any, so I went down the garden, picked a few bay leaves off my tree, and now they're drying nicely. And I've split that into 4 big chunks because we're going to remove that afterwards. I also will be needing just one medium-sized onion, finely chopped. I'm using a red onion. You can use whatever onion you have. Pretty much any onion you have is perfectly fine. As long as you've got a handful of chopped onions, that's great. The onions, when they're blended, will contribute to the thickness of the end sauce or gravy. So the onions have been finely chopped. That's what we're going to need, around about a good handful. Now I'm going to peel a couple of apples. I've got a couple of russet apples here. You can use, I'm going to be honest with you, you can use pretty much most apples will be suitable for this, because it's the sweetness of the apple that's going to contribute to the flavour of the gravy. And we're going to just medium dice it, because once again we're going to stick blend the sauce at the end, and the apple will contribute to the thickness of the end sauce, gravy, whatever. Here's the butter. Here's the butter sizzling away. We're going to throw in that pot all our onions. There we are. And we're going to pop in the herbs. I've added some dried chives. In goes the sage, in goes the dried chives that I have in my cupboard. Now in goes the thyme from the garden, the bay leaf and the rosemary. So lots of herbs going on here with the gravy, and we want to sweat all those items out in the saucepan. Sweat them out for about 5 minutes, and then we want to throw in a cup of wine followed by our chopped apples, and we're going to bring that to the boil. And we're going to boil that until half the wine's disappeared. You'll be able to recognise that by the way the apples are all of a sudden floating on the surface. The wine would have saturated them before, soaked them in, but now as I'm describing there, you can see the wine has reduced. And now we're going to add the chicken stock, and I'm using a good quality chicken stock here, and I want to pretty much simmer this for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then I'm going to remove those bay leaves because we don't want those in the sauce at the end. There they are. That's the 4 that I put in. I'm removing those out, and now I'm going to stick blend it. Now when you use a stick blender, for me, what works for me is I like to tilt the sauce so the end of the blender is completely immersed under the liquid. So the end of the blender needs to be submerged in that liquid, and once you press that button, I promise you won't get any splashes. And try and do quite a thorough job here. We want it reasonably smooth. And to be perfectly frank with you, if you don't want to blend it, you don't have to, but you won't get that thickness if you don't blend it. I'm throwing in about a 1/4 teaspoon of gravy colouring to make my sauce gravy look rather appetizing. Now it's a nice pale brown colour, perfect. So all that's left to be done now is a little bit of seasoning, a bit of salt and pepper, about a 1/4 teaspoon of each. Not too much salt because we've already used the chicken stock. Give it a stir. I'm also going to put a generous pinch of dried sage in there too, just to accentuate the sage flavour. Really beautiful. A great sauce this gravy is, or a great gravy this sauce is, depends where you come from. I'm going to bring it to the boil and throw in about 1/3 of an ounce of butter, just to give it a final enrichment, to make it beautifully smooth. And that butter, believe me, does make a massive difference. And that's pretty much ready for your wonderful roast meat. And there's only one thing left to do now, and that's to give it a taste. In goes my dessert spoon. Teaspoons are far too small for me. And that spoon's going to be quite hot, I promise you. So yeah, it tastes fabulous. And here we are. It's time to ladle it over my lovely pork chop. Absolutely wonderful. And I promise you, this gravy is perfect for any Thanksgiving meal or any roast that I've mentioned earlier: chicken, pork, turkey, anything. Folks, thanks for having a look at my video today. I'm very grateful to everybody. If you wouldn't mind subscribing or even liking, sharing, and if you want to know about my next video, please press the notification bell. This is Archie Pie, sending everyone lots of love, and please do take care of yourselves. I'll see you all very, very soon.